everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Dr. Emily, and today I want to talk to you about why your lab tests may look normal, but you still have symptoms or feel unwell. So this is a common situation where you might have symptoms, you're starting to feel a little off or unwell, and you go to your doctor, you have your lab tests run, and everything seemingly comes back normal. So this can be really frustrating, mainly because you're not feeling that well and you still don't have answers as to why that's happening. If this is happening for you, know that you're not alone. I see this every single day. In fact, the majority of my patients come in because they're concerned. They're feeling unwell, they're having symptoms, yet their lab tests look normal, and they want to get to the bottom of what's going on for them. So today I want to highlight the 3 biggest reasons as to why this situation is so common and why this may be happening for you. Reason number 1, an incomplete blood panel. This seems really obvious, but I have patients coming in to see me every day with a comprehensive blood chemistry panel, and then when I take a look at the panel, I see something that I refer to as a Swiss cheese panel. This means that there are holes or key pieces of information that are necessary to put their puzzle together. A really good example of this is that 60 to 80% of autoimmune thyroid conditions gets missed because the 2 main antibodies needed to rule out this condition are typically not run on a traditional lab panel. Another great example of this is an iron panel or an incomplete iron panel with all the important factors that we need and values that we need to evaluate this. In fact, I see subclinical anemia and full-blown anemia get missed every single day, and also even conditions like iron overload. So that's reason number 1. And reason number 2 as to why you may have normal labs but still have symptoms is that we're running the wrong tests. This seems really obvious, but I see this happen every single day. A really good example is if you have symptoms such as digestive issues, acid reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, gas, whatever the symptom may be, and a traditional lab panel is not going to show us what's going on in the digestive tract. What we need is more highly specialized testing and even perhaps a stool test in order to reflect what's going on in your gut. Another good example is if you have ongoing chronic fatigue. If we have something going on with the adrenal glands, then we have to run a very specialized adrenal gland function test in order to understand what's going on with those glands. But a traditional blood chemistry test won't reflect this. And finally, you've made it to reason number 3. Reason number 3 is my favorite reason because it's the reason why I practice functional medicine and why I lecture all across the country on functional medicine. Reason number 3 is that lab tests are not standardized. Wait a second, did you hear that? Lab tests are not standardized, but what does that mean? That means that lab ranges change from lab to lab. The way they calculate lab ranges is they take sick people and healthy people in a particular demographic, they add them up and average them out, and they get a huge, broad, wide range, which means the high end is very high and the low end is very low. So the problem with these big, broad ranges is that while they're really good for catching an urgent situation or maybe a life-threatening situation, they're really poor at catching something that's more chronic or more insidious. So if you're somebody who's just in this realm over here where you're just breaching the high end but not out of the lab range, or the low end and not out of the low end of the lab range, you're not going to get flagged as being out of range and there's no issue. But many times we see patients having symptoms, feeling unwell, and their numbers are towards the high or towards the low end of the range. And this is where they're slipping out of homeostasis, or in other words, slipping out of balance. And this is where symptoms start to happen and where sometimes disease disease starts in its infancy state. And this is why I practice functional medicine. In functional medicine, I use something called the functional ranges. And the way they measure the functional ranges is they take only healthy people. So we're comparing your values to healthy people as opposed to sick and healthy people combined. And this gives us a more optimal range so that we get you to optimal functioning. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you're someone who is concerned about your symptoms, but your lab tests look normal, I am here to help. Just give a call to the number on this website and we'll go ahead and schedule a consult and we'll figure out what's going on for you.